tzilcha al yad yeminecha. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yeminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka ve'yareach v'layla. Adonai yishmorcha mikora, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzedcha uvolecha me'ata ve'ad olam. Adonai yishmor tzedcha uvolecha me'ata ve'ad olam. Ha'mekoma tavo v'shalom. Thank you everyone for coming, for braving the cold as we can join together. For anyone who can't be with us but is tuned into our broadcast, we thank you as well for joining your hearts together to honor, to celebrate, to show the ultimate respect for Clarice Danzker, Chaika bat Avram Vanesi, the daughter of Nessie Kaufman and Abraham Yarn, Zichronam Livracha, of blessed memory. We begin our service, Graveside here, with the recitation of a psalm. This is Psalm 121, known in Hebrew as Shir Lama'alot, a song for those who ascend. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, from God, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. You see, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your protection, your guardian at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life. God will guard your going and coming now and forever. May Clarice go unto God in peace. Hatzur tamim, Paulo kichod racha mishpat, elamun avenav el tzadik v'yasharhu, tzadik atadonai lahamidu lahachayot, asher b'yadcha b'gadon kol ruchot, chalil lecha zichronenu limchot, v'yihiuna einecha v'rachamim aleinu fekuchot, ki lecha adon harachamim v'haslichot. Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yishem Adonai mevorach, והוא רחום יכפר עוון ולא ישחית, והרבה להשיב אפו ולירקו חמתו, וישוב העפר על הארץ שהיה, והרוח תשוב אל האלוהים אשר נתנה. The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns to God who gave it. May our beloved soul be bound up in the bond of life eternal, and may Adonai, God, send comfort to those who mourn and grant strength to those whose burden is sorrow. Clarice passed away Tuesday morning, the 28th day in the Hebrew month of Tevet. She was 99, having just celebrated her 99th birthday at the end of December. She is survived by her loving family, her daughters, Simi and Lainey, and sons-in-law, Larry and Michael, by her grandchildren, Benji, Alyssa, Stephen and Kimmy, Nessa and Jason, and by her 3 great-grandchildren, Ozzy, Jacob, and Sophie. She was predeceased by her parents, Nessie and Abraham, by her husband, Ernie, and by her brothers and sisters, Lil, Jack, Harry, and Seema, all of blessed memory. Zichronam Livracha. We will hear eulogies in a moment from Clarice's daughters and from her grandsons. By way of introduction, I'll ask the rhetorical question that Michael posed when we met as a family just the other night. How do you live to be 99? Sure, good genes, and certainly a little bit of good fortune, mazel, as well. But after that, you really couldn't come up with a better recipe than to follow Clarice's example, to do everything she did. Stay active, check. Whether it was physically, from yoga long before it was fashionable, and eating well as well, or golf, or just getting out of the house. Sure, she was a homemaker, Clarice, but only when her kids were there was she ever actually at home. Or maybe it was socially active, to meet, to keep, to have a lot of friends, to have parties at every opportunity, and certainly to stay sharp mentally, whether it was, in Clarice's way, the game of bridge. To stay positive, check. To look on the bright side of life. To find the beauty in life, be it travel, music, art, humor, family. Certainly family. It helps to have a partner, someone with whom you are on the same wavelength, truly linked up, a balance, but also side by side. Clarice had Ernie. A true team, a true partnership. Even in business, while they may have had a traditional marriage, she was at home and he was at work, she supported him as well, talking through ideas. A lot of the things that came in the store and the business came from their partnership together, and certainly in their family, to the point where you can't even separate them really from each other. They go together, as they did for so many years, and now together reunited again. And to be good to others. Just listen to some of the comments that Simi and Lainey shared from their friends when they had learned that Clarice had passed. Such a lovely lady. Warm, kind, open to the world around her. She was quite special. She was full of life, love, and grace. A lovely, caring person. She always had the right words. She was an amazing woman. So how do you live to be 99? You know, as she did, that life is a blessing. And that's what hers was as well. And what her memory will certainly be. It's always hard to say goodbye. Young or old, those who leave this world always leave just a little bit sooner than we would like. We always wish to have more time with them, to make more memories, to share more time together, and how much they wish they could stay and share with us as well. As it says in Kohelet, in Ecclesiastes, one of the books of the Bible, the eye never has its fill of seeing, nor the ear of hearing. But when you have the opportunity to say goodbye to someone who, for nearly a century, without question, made her little corner of the earth better just by being in it, by being her way, it can in some ways become both a day of mourning and a day of true celebration, of giving thanks to be part of that blessing for as long as we each were. May Clarice be at peace, and may her memory be a blessing. I'll now call up Simi and Lainey to deliver their eulogy.
Our mom was born on December 29, 1924, exactly 3 years to the day after my dad. Like my dad, she was the youngest of 5 children. Though she grew up during the Depression, she always described her childhood as happy. The one thing she was not denied was ballet lessons. Though her closest sibling, Lillian Popesky, was 8 years older, they were more like twins throughout their lives. The best of sisters. Our mom's passing marks the end of an entire era as the last of her generation on both sides of her family. My parents met on a blind date to play, of all things, a game of bridge. Big surprise. They were married in 1950 during the big flood, and because they could not float over to the Royal Alexandra Hotel that day, they boated instead to a relative's home for the wedding. That was the beginning of a fairy tale life marked by happiness, music, humor, and of course, their great legendary love. As children, we were lucky to have them as our parents, and we knew it. Our home was filled with song, guitar, and piano music, dancing and jokes. All our friends wanted to hang out at our house. Our mom, the elegant, classy lady, was the perfect foil to our hysterically funny, guitar-playing, joke-telling dad. But underneath that lovely exterior, she could crack a joke and deliver it just as well. And she continued to do that right until the end of her life. In the way she lived, she showed us invaluable lessons. She was the eternal optimist. Even in her last days, she found something to be happy about whenever we saw her, especially when a great-grandchild was in tow. She was open-minded, fair, insightful, joyous, health-conscious way before it was fashionable, dedicated. And she was strong. Man, was she strong. For a little woman who, as she always said, was once 5'5" but shrunk to 5'2", she had an unmatchable strength of convictions and mindset. She was not, however, known for gourmet cooking. But our dad loved everything she made, and boy, could she throw a party. Every Rosh Hashanah and breakfast, our home was filled to the brim with people. Sweet 16s, engagement parties, anniversary parties, on and on. Throughout her life, she was involved in Jewish organizations, school organizations, camp organizations, and others. She loved music and the arts. We went to symphonies, the ballet, the theater, you name it. Sure, she was a masterful bridge player, an exceptional golfer, a great dancer, a beautiful woman, but most of all, she was the best partner, mother, grandma, and great-grandma. We'd like to thank 4 wonderful women, Tess, Baby, Maybelle, and Letty, for taking such good care of our mom. And from the bottom of our hearts, her amazing doctor, Kristen Creek, whom she loved, for the exceptional care and compassion she gave to our mom. Thank you.
On December 29th, our grandma celebrated her birthday like she had so many before, surrounded by her loving family. Her daughters played guitar and sang songs. Her great-grandchildren danced a ballet dance, held her hands, and shook maracas. This birthday was a little special for a couple reasons. First, it was a big birthday, her 99th. And second, because of her health, we all knew it was our way of beginning to say goodbye. But we want to talk about how we would say hello. As for grandchildren, the favorite sound of our childhood was the 4-note chime of our grandma and grandpa's doorbell, because it meant our grandma would be running to the door yelling out, "It's the Happy Gang," and then greeting us with a huge hug and her big smile.
Then the fun started. We'd play card games, but never bridge, as she's only playing that with masters, sang songs, swam in the pool, and watched old movies. On Friday nights, she would work hard, cooking big family dinners. The only thing harder than her work ethic was the texture of her chicken. These dinners were rituals. Grandma would tell a joke she'd heard, forgetting most of it, piecing together the rest, and then laughing at the result. She'd then proceed to crinkle up her nose, shaking her head when Grandpa would correct her, which would make us laugh even harder.
In Palm Springs, the mornings wouldn't start with a doorbell. They start with running down the hallway to Grandma and Grandpa's room and jumping on their bed. Grandma would read us a story. Then we'd go outside, fish for some golf balls, and she'd make the whole family a huge breakfast. Grapefruit and oranges from her tree. She'd measure out cups of blueberries carefully. She'd make sure none of the food had sodium or salt. The lender's bagels had margarine, never butter. And the whole time she made breakfast, she'd be watching over our grandpa like a hawk to make sure he didn't smuggle anything in. He always did.
During the day, we'd play tennis and golf. Grandma was a club champion who even made a hole-in-one, and so many friends through the game. In the evening, she was elegantly dressed to host her friends and family who would come over for gatherings filled with stories, laughter, and song. They were the constant hosts because she and my grandpa loved and cared so much about sharing happiness and their lives with others.
A couple years ago in Palm Springs, Grandma was starting to show signs of slowing down. She was like 96, but we wouldn't have any of it. So we challenged her to a putting contest. She slowly got up, grabbed her trademark white golf visor and her walker, and we made our way to the golf cart. In the cart, she looked over and said, "Of course, I can't do any putting." But when we got to the green, she pushed the walker aside, grabbed the putter, and then made 4 perfect 30-foot putts. A tiny smile came over her face, and she looked up and said, "Okay, let's go."
That was her. Behind the grace and beauty, she had great strength, compassion, and empathy. She was there when we needed her, as she, like my grandpa, cared so much about impacting the lives of others, especially of her family. But let's not forget, Grandma had a hard side to her as well. From smuggling 8 grapefruit in her suitcase from Palm Springs to Winnipeg, to hosting illegal bridge games at the Shaftesbury while social distancing was in full effect. She was the full package.
It's impossible to convey the daily joy that she and my grandpa brought to each of our lives for so long, and how great their impact was on all of us. Over 7 decades as parents, 40 as grandparents, and precious years as a great-grandparent, this strong and timelessly elegant woman, together with this gregarious and fun man, who was her partner for over 60 years of marriage, built and sustained a family of unwavering happiness, empathy, and love, at which they were the constant center. We spent so much time together. We had so much fun. We see so much of you in each other, and you've always ended our visits saying, "We made your day." But it was you who made our lives. We'll celebrate you always.
We're comforted that you and Grandpa are together again. He'll be so excited to see you, except for having to hide the late-night hot dogs again. Here's the song that will always remind us of you and Grandpa. We're just going to do the chorus, so you can feel free to join along. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Thank you to Stephen and Benji. Thank you to Simi and Laney. Your heartfelt eulogy words were beautiful, fitting tributes to your mother and grandmother. We'll now chant the El Malei Rachamim prayer in honor of Clarice Danzker. El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Ashchina B'malo Kiroshim Uteorim Kezohar Arakia Mazirim Enishmat Chayka Bar Avram V'Nesi Shelcha Leolama Began Eidente Menuchata Anabal Harachamim Hasirei Abisei Tergen Afecha Leolamim Utzrur Bitzrur Achaim Enishmata Adonai Hu Nachalata V'tanuach v'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure to the soul of Clarice Danzker, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that she find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And together let us say, Amen. In a moment we'll turn to the words of the mourner's Kaddish and then conclude our